you have a culture, you're able to kind of create a culture. From the standpoint of what you believe really makes a successful company, how much time do you spend on this thing, this culture thing? How would you describe the culture that you have in the companies at SpaceX and Tesla and so on?
Well, I don't think we spend a lot of time sort of consciously on creating a particular culture, but I think the culture comes from the actions and the way that I guess you interact with people and conduct meetings. I think now that the companies are fairly big, Tesla's about 12,000 people, SpaceX is about just over 4,000 people. I've given some thought that to actually writing something up, because the amount of direct interaction I have with people is a lot more limited. I do skip level meetings, so it's like I meet with my report and their direct reports.
It's good to hear some of these familiar words.
Okay.
Skip level meetings.
I think that's a good
we do
idea.
those too.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, generally, for a company, when it's very small, productivity grows quickly because of specialization of labor. And then productivity per person declines due to communication issues as the company gets bigger. Mm-hmm. As you have more and more layers through which communication has to flow, that necessarily imparts errors. Like every time information flows from one person to another, even with the best of intentions, you have information loss. So it's just broken telephone, basically.
Yeah.
So to the degree that you can alleviate that by doing things like skip level meetings, I think it's a good idea. But I think now the companies are getting bigger, and even with skip level meetings, there's just a huge number of people I don't see at all. I think some kind of written document that people can refer to, sort of like the rules of the company and how things should work. I think
would that be a values statement? Here's the values of the company.
The problem with certainly values, but I mean, if the value statements are just sort of fairly obvious mom and apple pie stuff, then it's difficult to say, well, how should this be a set of operating instructions for the company? So it's got to be something that people that's quite actionable. Like, okay, these are rules that are different from how we might otherwise do things. Like the rules need to particularly capture counterintuitive things. Mm-hmm. If something's like fairly obvious, or then I guess people will probably do that. But the counterintuitive stuff is less obvious. I mean, one thing we have at the companies is we try to minimize the size of meetings. I think it's actually important to minimize the size of meetings.
So what would be a normal size? How many people would you typically have in one of your meetings?
Normal meeting would be 4 to 6.
I need some of my people to take note. That's why I was asking that.
I mean, but the basic rule for the meetings is that somebody should, unless somebody's getting enormous value from the information they're receiving, or they're contributing to the meeting itself, they should not be there. And we also have a rule that if somebody's in a meeting and finds that this meeting is not helping them in a meaningful way, and they are not contributing to the meeting, they should just leave.
Just get up and pack.
Just get up and walk out.
All right. Yeah. And would that be, in your culture, would that be rude to do that? Or?
No, that's expected. It's rude to stay.
We may be able to go a little further.
So that, yeah, my meetings can be the biggest times in a hour. But this had caused some consternation when we had, we've had some collaboration programs with other companies where we would have 6 people in the meeting, and they would have, 30 people in the meeting.
Now we're starting to sound like some of the meetings I'm used to.
Yeah, it's a frequent problem, and they really don't like it when people get up and walk out either.
So let me get down to brass tacks. JB, how many meetings have you walked out on where Elon has been running the meeting? No, don't go there.
Question.
I'm just having some fun with you.
It has happened.
It has occasionally happened. I mean, he's serious. It's actually expected. It's a negative thing if you're just sitting there and not contributing and kind of on your phone or on your laptop in the corner of the meeting. You know, there's so many groups like that, and it's just no one's engaged and it's not productive.
So do you have a no iPhone, BlackBerry policy when people are in meetings? Or do you let people try to multitask across the electronic communications while also engaging, participating actively in a meeting? I'm going to get off this topic shortly. I just kind of curious.
We don't have a hardcore, like, I mean, people often have laptops and phones in the meeting. But if what they're mostly doing in the meeting is working on their laptop or phone, then well, they can do that at their desk.
Right.
So it's like
They should get up and pack.
yeah. I mean, if there's a sort of brief sort of lull in the meeting and they can they can do something, that's fine. It's okay. But if they're doing it too much, then they're obviously shouldn't be at the meeting in the first place.